Good morning, everybody, and this is your S&P 500 day trade setups for today. So just starting off on the weekly, just want to highlight a few things here. So the first thing is this trend for this year has gone parabolic. So you can see it's getting steeper and steeper and steeper. We are pulling away from the 155. We are extremely far away from the 155. So a healthy pullback is something that you would want to see. Now, if you just look what happens whenever we get into this zone, and I'm calling it a zone because it basically extends all the way to the top of this weekly pin bar, but you can see at 45.50 area the sellers come in. So for me, a healthy pullback down to the bottom of this wedge that is formed here on the weekly, which is down here, 43.29, would be really interesting, and something even further back would be a much better buy. Anyway, it's been a really gappy move up this year. You can see we have one gap here, closed there, opened there. So there's a big weekly gap. There's another weekly gap. There's another weekly gap. Here's another weekly gap here. There's one there. So, weekly gaps are something which you really need to pay attention to because they do act as very strong magnets. So, yeah, jury's out on what's actually going to happen. But for me, this is not something I want to be buying at right now. Trend is up. I should be buying with the trend, but not when we start looking like this. So just looking at the macro view gives you an idea of what we're looking at or what we're dealing with. And then the next thing here is what we want to see is the double top here. You can see here, oscillators have crossed over and pointing down. Ever so slight diversions here. It's not really that clear. And there is a double top. But if you just look at this on the daily, you'll see a rejection bar there, a bigger rejection bar yesterday, and look at that divergence there. So that's between this high and this high. We haven't yet crossed over. We're still overbought. So that gives us a daily level quite far down at 44.65. Okay, so we have all the macro levels in. That's kind of what we want to pay attention to right now. And let's get down to the levels that we want to be trading. So first things first, buyers did come in off here at 45.32, and they are selling, and it does look like we've got a bit of a rejection formed on 45.50. So 45.50 is the line in the sand. If we stay below that and the bears defend that, I would expect us to, I wouldn't say fly through all the levels to left, but I definitely think we're going to look for something a little bit more structured lower down. So all that noise in your head, and the key thing here is you can see the last 5 hours of the trading session, which is basically the whole trading session. We were grinding higher, made a lower high, and then just plummeted. I'm not sure whether it was on news or earnings. Haven't had a chance to have a look. That's the reason why. The fact of the matter is price action was telling us yesterday, be careful of the longs here, and whatever longs you did take, you were looking to have a really tight stop loss, and you only wanted to be buying off structure. So this would have been the area here. We did look at this level yesterday, and you can see the buying got going pretty quickly. If you do this on the 15, you can see there it is there, nice engulfing bar, fairly decent trade, only 80 point risk, and then as soon as you get past your level, I would have been stopped to entry and would have been stopped out pretty much for a break even. But anyway, it's typical. This is the kind of thing that the bears look for, but they know that we're putting entries in here. They know that we're expecting this to be a flag and a second move up, and it's going to the moon. So they prey on that emotion. So as soon as they see it, they let you think that things are going wonderful, that you walk away from your desk, and then they drive it in the direction they want. Anyway, I think Probably more of the same today. There haven't been, it's not very gappy, it's actually very well structured to the downside. So apart from this little gap here, but that's been closed already. So for me, this area here, which is around 45.54, 45.50 is the key area to pay attention to. So we are dropping now. I think it's been led by what's going on in Japan at the moment in the Asian session. So yeah, that's kind of what it's looking like. We're looking to be short, but I want to see a rejection here. I just want to get the whole zone in so we don't get too confused. So 45.63 and 45.54 and 4500. That's the area to watch during the trading session this afternoon. As soon as you see a rejection of that area, it's got to be a fairly decent rejection. Don't look for something like that. That's not decent. It does look like an engulfing bar, but it doesn't bode well with me. I'd want to see a pin bar or a decent inside bar or something more like this. That to me just reads confusion. I want something like this off a level. So yeah, that's kind of my view at the moment. Very cautious about longs, leaning towards shorts, and those shorts are pretty much for the short term. And then the last thing you want to just bear in mind is it's looking like a weekly rejection bar in a very strong area of resistance. So and the next weekly support level is down here at 43.29. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Anyway, that's kind of my view today. We're looking to follow through with this. Bear in mind it is towards the end of the month as well, to the end of the week. Yeah, anything can happen. We could open up a session and then suddenly rally and close on our high. But the previous week was a rejection. This is looking like a rejection. So just, again, small position size, keep your stops fairly close. Wait for the volumes to come into the market and then look and see what's happening. If we do get a rejection here, then it's definitely short. Pay attention to this area of support from yesterday at 45.32. If we get through that, that is a fairly big area. If we just get to the 3 hour, that's basically the neckline of a double top. And if we get through that and reject that, you're basically looking for an 800.4, which is probably going to be around here. That's 679. The underside of it should be 874. Yeah. So when I say the underside, I'm talking about that. Okay, so that zone there looks like it would be the target if this level of 45.32 gives way. But I would definitely not be holding a position over the weekend. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Hope it helps. If it does, drop us a thumbs up, and we'll catch up with you on Monday morning. Enjoy your weekend.